You've never beaten the devil.
Check the wiki. I did just that.
Think you can do it again?
Alright, what's going on, guys? It's GSR here. So basically I wanted to talk to you guys today about Spawn. So overall, I don't think Spawn is necessarily a S tier character. I don't think he's an A tier character. I definitely think he's kind of like a mid tier character to possibly balance type of tier character, but he definitely needs a buff, and there's a lot of different reasons why. Now I do believe in this variation that I'm going to talk about, I do believe he is more of a space control type of character. There's a lot of shit pointing to that, where he can control a good amount of space, as you guys can clearly see right here, and this low actually complements his guns blazing, because when you try to jump into the air, he can actually hit you with this. And another thing to keep in mind is that when he goes for this special move, he doesn't really get crazy amounts of range on it, so he has to be like in this area in order to kind of like hit you with it and stuff like that. But then again, you can neutral crouch underneath it. And what I noticed is that when you do jump in and he catches you, he gets unbelievable amounts of range. So, you know, just keep that in mind. And like I said, he's more of a footsie character across all three different variations that he has access to. Spawn is playing the game's meta, believe it or not, and this variation complements his footsie game for a lot of different reasons, because, you know, he's doing a lot of space control. So that's actually really good, because he can cover the area right there to where he can hit you with the low, and then when you're in this area, he can hit you with like the mid and the standing three, and you know, you kind of get the idea here. And then when you try to go for a low, he can actually parry your low with this, and he pretty much gets combo damage. Now I thought he could get a combo off of this, but he actually can't, which is unfortunate. That would be pretty cool if he could do something like that, where he has the option to do something like that to where he can get more damage on you. That would have been really dope. But yeah, another thing is he can pretty much, you know, cancel his low, as you can clearly see here. Nothing too crazy, because he can't necessarily go directly into another normal, which is unfortunate. But you can definitely create a mind game off of that if the opponent thinks that you're going to do that. Like a clear example is his back 1-2. He has an overhead, so obviously they're going to block low because they think you're going to do this, and you can immediately cancel. And if they try to jump, you can possibly hit them with this, and if you want to use a bar meter, then you can. But like I said, he's more of a space control type of character in this variation. His Fallen Angel is nothing too special. It's kind of a goofy looking move, but it helps him out, because if the opponent tries to, like, you know, zone him, he could more than likely jump into the air and catch them from distances that most characters can't reach the opponent at. So, you know, just keep that in mind. But other than that, that's mainly what the special move is used for. And it definitely knocks the opponent down. If he manages to kick you, he could possibly do shit like this. You know what I mean? And then, you know, knock you down, and you'll be like really close to him to where, you know, he can start up an Oki and stuff like that. And you know, you kind of get the idea with that particular situation. So that's pretty much what his variation is about. He's more of a space control type of character in this game when it comes to this variation. And I highly recommend that you play slightly defensive with this character. You don't just be overly aggressive, like, yeah, bitch, come on, get some, you know what I mean? Like, nothing like that, right? Now, when it comes to his special moves, right, like this move is a combo ender, so it's really good because he can actually restand you, and when he restands you, he can go for a down one, he can backdash like this and whip punish you, and then hit you with a combo of his choosing, and you kind of get the idea with that. He can also cash out on damage. Now, when it comes to his combo variation, you need to make sure that the opponent is high enough into the air to where you can actually get this out. The reason why I say that is because his startup time is actually 20 frames. So that's pretty much this move. It's his main combo ender. And then when it comes to his shattering or his soul shattering war club, he has a projectile. He can actually track you with this, which is actually really interesting, and this complements certain strings that he has access to. So he could definitely do this to you very easily, and it doesn't matter where you are, he will track you with this. So if Cassie Cage was to kind of like back up like this, and she was constantly backing up like this, right? So hold on, let me actually there we go. So I'm gonna have Cassie Cage just back up like this, and you're gonna see what I mean. It doesn't matter where you are, he can track you. You see that? So just keep that in mind. This is a pretty good move to make him safe on block, and especially when he goes for a certain string, which we will be getting to the strings very shortly. This is a good combo ender as well if you want to do it, but then again, there's no reason to, because he has access to this. You can also go for his guns blazing as a combo ending type of situation as well if you want to, right? Not only that, when the opponent gets hit and they try to break out of the combo, he can actually pop you back up into the air for a combo. Now, I think this is one of the best special moves in the game, and the reason why I say that is because he can definitely create a really strong mind game to where, oh shit, you're gonna break out my combo? Okay, bitch, well, guess what? You're gonna get hit with my soul shattering war club, and guess what? that helps me extend my combo even further. So I believe every character in the game should have something like this to where they pop you back up into the air for a combo. And I think this would actually help out a lot of characters in the game that have, less combos. This definitely helps out Spawn because it can make the combo longer, and it feels somewhat satisfying when you see something like that, because you pop them back up into the air for a combo and it's extending that combo. So that's actually really good. So I do believe they should do that with every character in the game, because when you finally open up the opponent, it's fucked up because they can break out and their shit's recharging up on its own. So now this creates a really powerful mind game, because now they have to guess on whether or not you're going to go for that shattering war club, right? So I really love this special move, and hopefully they don't nerf it, and hopefully they give this to a lot of characters in the game, so that way combos can be a little bit more better in the game. So that's pretty much that in a nutshell. And when it comes to his his little situation right here, his little unholy string, not string, excuse me, but special move, he can definitely hit you and get a crushing blow, and this allows him to get a combo. Now if the opponent was to break out right there, this allows Spawn to go for this, and then he can get a combo, and you kind of get the idea here. And this helps him out when characters are throwing out projectiles. Another thing that I wanted to show you guys is that he can make himself -10 on block. So you see how like he's -11. If you do it quick enough, he can become -10 on block. But I highly recommend you don't do this. It's not really worth it. But you have to be quick enough to do it. But you have to hold like the triangle button and shit. Hold on, let me see if I can get this, because I'm trying to do it. Let me see. There we go. He's -10 on block, right? And you can make him like 1 frame safer, but it's not really worth doing that. Now if he could be a lot more safer on block, like where he's like -5, then this would be something to use definitely to make him a lot more safer, but unfortunately that's not the case. It's kind of ironic though, because Sindel can actually make herself safe with the scream, and create a really powerful mind game off of that, and she's a 50-50 character. She's not even playing the game's meta, but Spawn's playing the game's meta and he's really minus on block, so that's kind of interesting, but that's just my opinion. Another thing I wanted to talk about actually is his fatal blow. His fatal blow is mad interesting. He has a really good anti-air type of fatal blow as well. He can hold up, and when he holds up, if you jump in, then you'll get hit. So that's actually pretty cool. You can use this in combos as well. That's really good. And like I said, this move is really good for, like, obviously, as you can clearly see here, projectiles. He can also cancel as well to kind of like mislead the opponent a little bit, you know what I mean? So you kind of get the idea with that, and that's pretty much the special moves in a nutshell. Nothing too crazy, but like I said, there's something wrong with his little Blaze of Glory special move. So let me show you guys that shit yet again, if I haven't showed you guys that. See this shit? This is bullshit. There's no reason for the opponent to be able to do something like that. This is the reason why I think Spawn needs a little bit of a buff, because I don't think he's that good. I'm pretty sure a lot of people believe he was going to be that good, but you never know until you see the frame data and you actually see the character's move list. And the way that they were talking about him in the combat cast, they made it seem like he was going to be one of the best characters in the game or something. And when you play as him, he's just not really all that. Now, I'm not saying that you can't necessarily do well with this character, but you're going to have to work really hard to do well with him, because like I said, he is a footsie character, and in this variation, it complements his footsies because he's more of a space control type of character in this variation as well. So let's get to his combo strings real quick. So his combo strings don't really have a lot of mix-up potential. He doesn't really have really good stagger, so his best stagger, at least in my opinion, would have to be a standing 3, as you can clearly see right here. So when he goes for his 1-1-2, he's -8 on block. He gets a good amount of space. He can definitely neutral crouch under highs and throws at this range. He can more than likely flawless block you. He could possibly backdash depending on what you do, and he is -8 on block. Not only that, his 1-1-2 complements his 1-1 back 2 that leaves him +7 on block. Now this is really effective for him in the corner, especially because the opponent can't go anywhere, and now you have to take plus frames, which allows him to space you out. This allows him to possibly dash up and throw you because you think he's going to go for his back 1. You kind of get the idea with that particular situation. And then on top of that, if you fuck up and try to press a button because there is a big enough gap, okay, he can hit you with the 1-1-2, but mainly the last hit, and this allows him to get a good amount of hit advantage, and now he's in your grill like he's George Foreman, and the nigga can hit you with a back 1 and continue pressure after that. So that's actually really good in itself, and it's pretty much the mind game off of that. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is his 1-1. This creates a really good mind game because he can either hit you with a down 1 or a throwing situation, or he could backdash and use his plus frames to bait you by hitting you with his back 1-2. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you try to backdash, he can actually hit you, but you have to time it correctly. correctly. And this depends on certain characters that he goes against. So as you can clearly see right here, I have a hit advantage of 16 frames because you try to backdash. So not only did you increase my hit advantage, because if we look at the hit advantage right here, right, it's 15 frames. So you increase my hit advantage just by backdashing as well. So I just wanted to show you guys that if you try to backdash, it depends on what character. Now, Sub-Zero can actually backdash out of this, so Spawn would have to go for like his 3-4 situation here to actually stop him from backdashing, and Spawn can create a really good mind game just by, you know, staggering this and doing shit like that. And you kind of get the idea with his 1-1 situation. When it comes to his back 1-2 string, this is one of the main you know, normals he's going to go for, because this is definitely his best far-reaching normal, one of them, and his standing 3 is too. And he can definitely do shit like this and stagger, and he's minus 11 on block, and I already showed you guys that he can become minus 10 on block if you decide to cancel, but you have to be really quick with the cancel in order for that to happen. So I highly recommend you don't do that. And this is definitely a really good whip punisher because it starts up at 13 frames and it has fantastic range, and he could definitely get a combo on you if he ends up whip punishing you, you know, so, or, you know, just punishing you in general, depending on how minus you are on block. So, you know, you kind of get the idea here. And then, you know, he has a low that kind of complements, so he can definitely cancel and kind of like fuck with you a little bit with this string. And that's pretty much it. Another thing to keep in mind is that he doesn't really have much of a hurt box when he goes for his best far-reaching normal, which is his back 1. He doesn't have much of a hurt box because you can't necessarily hit his button. And then on top of that, he has fantastic spacing as well. Now, when it comes to his 2-4 up 3 2 string, he has a flawless block gap in it, but he is +4 on block. So when Spawn goes for this, he's minus 11, so you can punish this character very easily without going for an up 2 and up 3. So Spawn has to be very careful. So the thing that Spawn can actually do is that he can just keep doing this and conditioning you to constantly see this all over again, and then when you fuck up, that's when the crushing blow comes out. He gets a combo, and if you try to break out, that's when the shattering war club comes out, if he predicts that that's what you're going to do. And you kind of get the idea with the string. But overall, majority of his strings, he doesn't really have like mix-ups like that, not like a lot of characters do in this game. He doesn't really have solid staggers like that either, which is mad disappointing. Now when it comes to his 4-2-1 up 2 string, I highly recommend you don't go for the last hit because it's really unsafe. And, you know, he's minus 14 on block. Not only that, he has a decent amount of space, and I know some people will be like, well, I'll probably go for it because of the space. You have to keep in mind that if the opponent knows that you're minus 14 on block and you commit into the string, the full string of it, they will punish you for doing what you just did. So he can kind of create a mind game off of this. Like, he can kind of like, you know, catch the opponent off guard every now and then with his 4-2-1, but more than likely the opponent's going to react to this because there's no real mix-up behind it. So he could definitely do it like right here and get like a good amount of space, as you guys can clearly see right here. And you know, he could definitely space you out like this and be minus 6 on block. And if he sees that he hits you, he could definitely like, you know, go for like his low possibly, and then, you know, cash out on damage if he wants to, or he could possibly hit you like his little phantom move and, you know, get really good amounts of damage on you. And, you know, you can kind of condition the opponent with this string as well to get them so used to seeing this, and then when they fuck up, they end up getting hit with like his soul shattering war club or something like that. And if the opponent ends up blocking this, you can make yourself safe just by doing that. And that's, you kind of get the idea with that particular situation. Not only that, that 4-2-1 actually complements his forward 2-3 string. Reason why is because he's minus 17 on block. And if he sees that the opponent actually blocked it, he can actually just do this and make himself safe on block, and then block afterwards and neutral crouch highs and punish them accordingly. And, you know, you kind of get the idea with that. Not only that, he could possibly stagger his 4-2 if he wants to mislead the opponent's timing. So there's that. And when it comes to his 4-2-3-4 string, he has unbelievable amounts of range on this string. But the problem is that he's really unsafe. So what Spawn would have to do is that in order for him to be safe, he would have to use a bar meter like this to make himself minus 7, and he has a good amount of space to where he's in the correct range to actually do shit like this to you, and get that space control. So that's a good way to make him actually safe on block. But I highly recommend you don't always go for this at this range, because the opponent will throw out projectiles at you, especially if you're going against a zoner. So you have to be very, very careful and pick and choose when you actually want to do this. And another thing to keep in mind is that if you look at his 1-1, this is how much damage he gets. If he goes for his 2-4, this is how much damage he gets. If he goes for his 3-4, this is how much damage he gets. If he goes for his 4-2-1, this is how much damage he gets. But if he goes for his 4-2-3 string, because you thought you can whiff punish the opponent, this is how much damage he gets. So this actually complements his combo variation because he can get a lot of damage off of it. So this is pretty much it with this string. Nothing too crazy. Like I said, he's not too much of a mix-up character at all. So that's pretty much that string in a nutshell. And when it comes to his 3-4 string, this is his best far-reaching normal as well. It's a high, so he can create a mind game with his back 1 and his standing 3. And like I say, he doesn't really have much of a hurt box, because if you try to whiff punish him for doing what he just did, he could punish you. So if I do this and try to go for Cassie Cage's situation here, so let me see if I can show you guys. So if he's spacing it out correctly, as you can clearly see, you will get hit every single time. But if you're a little bit closer, more than likely you will be able to hit him. But if he's spacing it out, he doesn't really have much of a hurt box. So just keep that in mind. Not only that, he can kind of like stagger it and stuff. And plus, you're going to block anyway because you're worried about his back 1. So most characters in the game will not be able to touch him, or all the characters in the game won't be able to touch him, even if he goes for this. But as long as he spaces this out correctly, you won't be able to touch him. So this is the reason why I think he doesn't really have much of a hurt box. He can definitely create a mind game off of this by staggering and, you know, kind of fucking with you a little bit, and then he can kind of like do that, and, you know, you kind of get the idea here. He can keep you out really well, actually, with these 2 strings that he has access to, or mainly these 2 normals that lead into strings. He can actually use this in combos if he wants to as well. It's really up to you if you really want to do that. As you can totally see here, he can use it in combos, but I don't think it's really worth doing it in combos. Not only that, this is a pretty good anti-air move. Reason why is because if the opponent is jumping at like this distance right here to reach you, he can actually stop them and hit them, and he's active for 6 frames, so that's actually really good. Another anti-air move that he has is like his standing 1. He doesn't really have the best anti-air moves in the game, but it's something, you know. And that's pretty much that situation in itself. And then when it comes to this string, you're obviously going to use it at close range. He could possibly stagger this a little bit because there is a slight delay right here, but he could definitely cancel into like special moves and stuff like that, as you guys can clearly see right here. And this, if he opens you up, he can do this across all 3 different variations. He can combo you very well, and you know, you kind of get the idea here. So with that being said, I don't think there's anything else to add here with his strings. Pretty standard string. He's pretty safe on it, so you could definitely use this at close range, especially once you get the hit advantage. So that's pretty much that string in a nutshell. Nothing too crazy. And then when it comes to his pokes, the main pokes you're going to go for is his down 1 and his down 4. Now, he has amazing startup time, block advantage, and hit advantage, so he can create a mind game with his throwing situation and his back 1. So if you disrespect, you will get put into a combo, and if you respect, you will get thrown, right? Same situation right here. So if the opponent was the neutral crouch, he can actually jail you off of his 3-4 string. So when he goes for this, as you guys can clearly see, this is exactly what will happen. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And then when it comes to like his throws and shit, he has access to a crushing blow on it. His throws are pretty standard and knocks you far away, but when he actually goes for his throw right here, he gets unbelievable amounts of damage. And if he wants to keep you on the ground, he could definitely do that and get solid damage on you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, he has a really strong mind game when his back is pushing in the corner because of this crushing blow. And then, you know, obviously he could do shit like this, and you know, you know, you kind of get the idea with this particular situation. And like I said, his throws are pretty flashy, pretty cool shit, as you clearly see here, and he gets a lot of space. And he's more of a footsie character. He has space control and stuff like that. Nothing too much to add here because, like I said, he has some flaws, and I do believe he deserves to have a little bit of a buff. Same thing with certain other characters in the game. But with that being said, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I love you guys. Peace.
Fatality. Spawn wins. Flawless victory.